Hi guys, this is Mask on Mike and I'm Malik and
I'm Mr. Goodrow.
okay, we have some questions for you today.
Cool.
Okay, so are you married?
Yeah, man.
How did you meet your wife?
Well, that's a funny story, really, because we started out hating each other.
Okay.
Right? Like, I hated her guts, man. She hated me too. And but part of that is because like her two brothers are my best friends, and I was a jerk as a kid. Let me also start with that. I was a bad jerk, you know. But anyway, I was like the brother's friend, and she was like the bratty little sister, and so it was like we did not like each other at all, bro. But then, then we both became Christians. You know, I wasn't a Christian as a kid, and I became a Christian, and then so that came with a personality change. And then I was just sitting there one day, and I'm like, dang, man, she's really awesome. And so, but then they moved, right? They moved away. They used to live right down the street, and then they moved. I was like, gosh, man, I just missed that opportunity. But then I started driving, and I would go see them on the weekends, and I'd put it on the guys of like, I'm gonna go see Dylan and Dalton, right? It's like, nah, I wasn't gonna go see them. I was gonna go see him, right?
Smart.
Yeah, it worked for sure. And then, so what happened was we were sitting there watching Space Jam. I guess what made it like official is we were sitting there watching Space Jam one time, and this story is hilarious, bro. So we were sitting there watching Space Jam, and she was on an air mattress in the living room because they had some people staying at their house.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, she had her arm like laying over the mattress like this, but I was laying on the floor. I don't know why I was laying on the floor. I was laying on the floor, and I saw her hand up there, and I was like, I gotta shoot my shot. You know, like I'm seeing Jordan shoot his shot on Space Jam, and I was like, I gotta shoot my shot.
Okay.
And so I was like, I just reached up and I grabbed her hand, and we just held hands. You know, and it's like that was the most awkward position to be in because my shoulder started hurting in like 30 seconds, and I was like, what do I do now? So I just let go, and you know. But I guess that's kind of what set the deal was just held hands on the Space Jam.
So you went to Ole Miss, Jerry? You went to Ole Miss?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I did. I was there all 4 years. It was good.
How was it like going to Ole Miss?
It was good, man. I think I learned a lot. I really did. I learned that, you know, college isn't necessarily for everyone, and it's not a bad thing, you know. But the time that I had in college, I really enjoyed it. And the friends that I made, and, you know, I had two guys that I met down there, and they were in my wedding, you know, so they mean a lot to me. And some other friends I met along the way also mean a lot. But it was good. It was good. It was good to be, when I went off to college, it's the first time I moved out. And so it was good to be moving out, you know, to doing my own thing. But I wouldn't live in a dorm again, that's for sure. The apartment is fine, but I'm not living in a dorm again. That's the truth.
You got any kids?
I got a baby on the way.
Are you excited?
Yeah, man. Of course I'm excited. But I think my parents are more excited than I am because they got a grandbaby, you know.
So you ain't scared at all?
I don't know. Not yet. Not yet. I think she's going through more emotions than I am, but that's also because like she's the pregnant one. You know, I'm not pregnant. So no, I'm not scared yet, but also I'll probably be pretty scared when I'm holding the baby. You know.
So you gonna be trying some Bibles?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's gonna help out. You know.
Who made you start teaching at home like this school?
You know, if I'm honest with you, Miss Gross called me while I was on vacation. And she was like, hey, we were wondering if you had gotten a job yet. And I had been interviewing with Lake Cormorant. And I was like, nah, I ain't got a job yet. And then I'm on vacation, and Miss Gross gives me a phone call. She's like, can you come in for an interview? I was like, well, not right now. I'm not here. I'm on vacation. She's like, all right, well, whenever you get back, just let us know. So I told him, and then I came in that next Monday, and I had an interview with Miss Gross and Mr. Everett, and I was just completely blown away. Right, like growing up at South Haven, it's like y'all were kind of our rivals. It's like, man, ain't nothing good coming out of Horn Lake, you know. And I'm sure y'all may say the same thing about South Haven,
Yes.
or whatever, you know.
No offense.
But like I kind of believed that, you know. It's like I didn't know nobody in Horn Lake, so I didn't have nobody to kind of back that up against, but. So I kind of came into the interview with that idea, and then just sat down and talked with Ms. Gross and Mr. Everett, and I was like, man, this is cool to be at, bro. And then Mr. Tommy gave me a call that afternoon, and kind of service.
So he gave you 3 jobs. You teach broadcasting, art, and gifts.
It's one job with 3 different spots, but yeah. Because
So
I'm
do
still
you get
paid
paid
like
for all 3 of them? Or
No.
you don't get paid for
I get paid for it as everybody else would. But it's alright. It's alright.
So when did you start teaching?
That's a good question. You know, I had a teacher. I had one teacher in middle school and then one teacher in high school that was just phenomenal, right? The teacher in middle school, his name was Mr. Naquin. He taught U.S. history, and he was just a really, really good teacher. And the teacher I had in high school was Miss Pasterchick, and she taught me my 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year for English. And she was just really good at her job, man. It was like, I saw that the kind of impact that she could have on kids, and I was like, man, if I could have half of that, I might as well, you know. So I started wanting to be a teacher. And then Ole Miss came to South Haven to kind of recruit, and they talked about the scholarship opportunity that was like they paid for school as long as they taught Mississippi for 5 years. And I was like, sign me up, bro. So I signed up for that and became a teacher.
So what is your opinion on other religions, like Judaism and others?
On other religions?
Mm-hmm. Do you think everyone should be a Christian?
Well, yeah. But I mean, that's also because I'm a Christian. You know, it's like, well, so let me go into that a little bit. You know, I think there's a lot. I have a deep respect for people of other religions, even atheism and even religions that aren't necessarily formalized. Like, I have a deep respect for people's desire to be spiritual, right? But with being a Christian, you know, that means that inherently, I don't think they're right. You know, like, I respect them deeply, but I don't think they're right. And so my idea was that is to your question, like, do I think everyone should be a Christian? It's like, yeah. But that's also because I think Christianity is the right one, you know. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be hateful or not. Doesn't mean I'm going to be hateful or rude to people of other religions, because I think that they have a right to believe what they believe, you know, and I have a right to believe what I believe. Let's just talk about it, you know, just like something like this.
Okay, atheism is when you don't believe in God, right?
Right.
So, do you believe in the reason they have that they don't believe in God for? Like,
Yeah.
some people don't.
Yeah.
They say, why is he so real? Why shouldn't he show himself?
Exactly, bro. Exactly, man. Like that, and that's why I respect even people that don't claim a religion, because it's like, man, there's a lot of stuff wrong with this world, and I really, really understand the atheist argument of like, if God is there and if God is good, like, why is all this stuff happening? And you know, I would say that it was because of sin and wrongdoing, but that doesn't really sound good when your mom's there dying, right? It's like, it's a lot easier to not believe in God when that's the case, you know. So that, I mean, yeah, certainly. I totally understand their arguments. I just don't agree with them. I don't think at the end of the day that all of this isn't going to mean anything, right? Like, kind of what matters most is going to keep mattering forever, right? Like, I don't think that we're just going to come to the end of our days and that's going to be it. Like, but maybe part of that's because I don't want to believe. It's like, if I'm suffering this much, I don't want to believe that it's not for nothing. But I don't think that's all that it is. I think it's like I'm able to withstand this much suffering because I know that these things are true, right? I think that's more so along the lines of what it is. But I totally get the arguments, bro.
So if you can have one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower, man, you were switching topics like crazy.
I am.
If I could have one superpower, probably flight. Because I'm so scared of heights. I'm so scared of heights. You don't understand. I try to be. Because if I can fly, there's no reason to be scared of heights, right? It's like, you're not going to fall to your death if you can fly. But I try to do things all the time to get over my fear of heights, but I just can't do it. Like, I tried rock climbing, pretty good at rock climbing, but I'm still terrified every time I get up there, you know. I tried jumping off cliffs and stuff like that, still terrified every time I get up there. So I just got like this really deep fear of heights. I don't know why. But if I could fly, that would go away.
I thought you lost the world peace.
World peace isn't a superpower.
Good point. I was telling the chick.
Yeah, come on, man.
If you was a supervillain, what would be your main goal?
Oh, a supervillain?
Take over the world?
Nah, man, it'd have to be something better than that. Every supervillain wants to take over the world, bro. It's like, no, you gotta do something better than that. You gotta like make it to where, if I was the type of supervillain, I think I would want to be the type of villain that everyone would like. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I would want most people to be on my side, so that when I said, hey, that hero over there, the real hero, they ain't a hero. They're fake, right? Most people would believe me.
So president.
Oh man, a president? I don't know, man. Nah, you talking about President Trump?
No, so you don't want to be president as a supervillain because everybody's on your side. Mostly everybody in this world believes you.
Right. I guess part of that's like a president. I hadn't thought about it like that before, but I've also never been asked if I was a supervillain, what kind of supervillain would I be? That's a good question.
Off topic. What is with the rule bees shouldn't fly?
Bees shouldn't fly?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's, you know, that there are things that happen on this world that just don't make sense, right? So, like, what does gravity do?
Lift you up? No, hold you down.
Exactly, right. It keeps pulling you down, right? Like, it always pulling. But when we get to the sun and the earth, it's like, why, if gravity always pulls, it's like, why is the earth not in the middle of the sun right now?
Yeah. Well, why
It's
the
like,
sun ain't coming down here?
It's like, right. It's like, so obviously, there's some exceptions to these rules that we have to have in order to be alive, right? And I mean, bees is the same way, because bees are like one of the most important animals on the planet, or something like that. And I think there's some things that kind of defy their own laws for our good, right? Because it's like, if the earth was in the middle of the sun, certainly we're not going to be here. Bees wouldn't either. But it's like, if bees weren't here, we wouldn't have so many planes, you know? So I think some things kind of have to break laws in order to keep us going. That's a good question.
What did you get? Wait, you gotta take two?
Now I got two tattoos.
Yeah, where did you get this?
This one? So I got this one back in like February. And it means a couple different things. The first one is there's me and then 4 other siblings. I had a brother that was killed in a motorcycle accident. I didn't get this necessarily for him, but it's kind of like a memory of him. But it's also a meaning of the Protestant Reformation, which happened like 500 years ago. And what that was is the Catholic Church had gotten a lot of things wrong. They had a lot of things right, but they were getting a lot of things wrong too. And the Protestants, guys like Martin Luther and those kind of guys are like, we gotta figure out what we believe and what it is that sets us apart from the Catholic Church. And they're like, well, what do we believe in? It's like, well, we're saved by faith, through grace, by Christ, and then for God's glory. And we know this by the Bible alone. And it's called the 5 solas. So that's kind of what this one means.
So are you a Christian by Catholic or by John?
By John, what you mean?
Cause see, John, he didn't want to be a Catholic Christian because he didn't disagree with some of the rules they had. I think his name was John. So he went off and created his own Christianity.
So I'm certainly not Catholic. But I mean, I guess I fall into there's Catholics and Protestants, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So I would fall probably into Protestants, but it's like if the Protestant church started falling away and started not believing the Bible or not doing things the Bible said, it's like I would abandon that way. You know, it's like because I'm a Christian first. But no, I would say I'm certainly not Catholic. That's for sure.
You ain't gotta say no name, but yeah, we don't say names on this time. Did you date someone before your wife?
Did I date someone before my wife?
I'm saying, like, did you have a strong relationship before your wife?
Yeah. Well, not strong. But yeah, I did have a relationship, and there was this girl I dated when I was in 8th grade, and that lasted like 3 or 4 months, something like that. Wasn't a good relationship. Neither one of us were very mature, but yeah, you know. And then there was a girl in like 9th or 10th grade that I dated. But anyway, I've been dating my wife since I was a junior, right? So I didn't really have it, right? But yeah, there was another girl that I dated for like 3 or 4 months, but they didn't really go nowhere either. Obviously, because I'm married to anything else.
Where did you live before South Haven?
I lived in South Haven my whole life. So when my parents were together, I lived right off State Line Road, and then when my parents split up, my mom, she moved to Olive Branch, but I was staying with my dad then. And then my mom lived in Horn Lake and a couple other places, but my dad always stayed in South Haven. So I've been in South Haven my whole life.
Have you ever been like the odd one out, like the one that never got picked in basketball, soccer, or anything like that?
Oh yeah, bro. Certainly. I wasn't athletic till I graduated. You know, like I was like 5 foot tall when I was a sophomore. You know, and then I hit a growth spurt. It's like, man, why couldn't I have this earlier? I tried to. Let me tell you something. I was on the middle school football team. I was just garbage. I was so trash, bro. I was so trash. But then I didn't quit because I wasn't gonna quit because I was like, I gotta prove something, right? And so I went up to high school football. Immediately got cut. Got cut and went like what? So yeah, I mean, but I didn't really feel like the odd man out there because like the coaches and the players
Respected you in a way?
yeah, like they were all the type of people, and maybe I don't know. I was the type of kid that understood that I wasn't any good, you know. Like I mean, I got that. Like it's like you didn't have to point that out to me. But I respected them, and they respected me, and it was like I didn't feel like the odd man out when I was around them because I think that they knew that I was trying. And I knew that even though I was trying, I wasn't very good. And so it was like there was like a mutual understanding there. So
what do you have? What is your opinion on Black Lives Matter? Not Black Lives Matter, on the rioting that most people are doing because of racism.
The rioting?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. It really just breaks my heart. Like it makes me real sad because we're seeing the same stuff that we've been seeing. You know, it's like we were dealing with this in the 60s, and it was quiet for a while. And I don't know if it was quiet because things were good, or if it was quiet just because nobody was talking. Right? I don't know what's the case. I don't know what's the case there, but I don't know, man. It just makes me sad because it's like we fought a civil war over this 100 years ago or 140 years ago. It's like then we saw everything that's happening now in the 60s with like all the riots and the shootings that were happening then, and then now we're seeing it again. It's like, man, it just makes me sad, yeah.
Why do you think people start rioting after like the 15th or close to a black man has been killed for no reason by cops?
Right.
Well, it wasn't necessarily no reason, but I don't think he should have died there.
I don't even know. I think you're talking about George Floyd. I think what happened to George Floyd was murder. I truly do. But, you know, I think it's complicated in the sense that some people are protesting and rioting because they've been trying to say stuff. Hasn't been working, right? It's like, you got somebody over here who's been shot. This is a metaphor, right? So you got somebody over here that's been shot and they're bleeding out. But no one's listening to them, right? They're calling like, hey, I need help. Hey, I need help. Hey, I need help. And no one comes to help them. And so then they start acting a fool because they're about to die, right? There are people like that. But then there are people who are like, they're seeing that they're getting shot, they're getting attention, and so I'm going to act like I've been shot. And so it's like, oh, look, I got a paper cut. I'm hurt. I'm bleeding too. You know, and so I think that there's a genuine hurt that maybe it's white and black. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is, you know, that people haven't listened to. And then there's people that are like exploiting that and saying, oh yeah, well since they're protesting, I'm gonna go riot, right? You know. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it, man. It's real sad to see. It's real sad to see.
When Martin Luther King died, before he got to, no, I think it was what is his name? Oh, did Malcolm X or Martin Luther King die first?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh, I think Malcolm died first. Do you think if they would have met the day, because if he died the day they was going to meet?
Mm-hmm.
So if you think if they would have got together, do
You
you
talking about
think,
Martin Luther and Malcolm X? Okay.
do you think this racism thing would have been over by then if they would have got to meet each other and discuss? Because his Malcolm X way was the violent way,
Right.
the way they're doing now. Martin Luther King was the peaceful way, the way they was doing back then.
Mhm.
So you think if they would have met, this racism thing would have just, I think it would have just disappeared.
Maybe some of it. I don't think the whole thing would have gone away. And so what I mean by that is like, it doesn't really matter. Some people, they were watching Martin Luther King speak, didn't matter what he said. They're still gonna hate black people, right? Like that's just how some people work. And other people were listening to what Malcolm X was saying. It's like, man, he's got it, right? Like, we've never been treated right. And because of that, we should revolt, And it's like, I certainly understand where he was coming from. I think Martin Luther King had it right in the peaceful protest kind of idea. But I think that if they would have gotten to meet, it would have done a lot for the black community. Probably more so than the white community. Just because both of those men were so looked up to by the people that they were trying to lead, right? So I think that if they would have had a conversation, and especially if that conversation would have been on something like TV, I think it would have been a lot of good for the black community, and there would have been a lot of willingness to discuss whether maybe would have been otherwise, So that's a good question, though. I never thought about that.
So do you think the looting needs to stop? Because they're only hurting the economy in some situations. Some situations they're making the police and the people. Wait, how do you think the people that own the shop that they use?
I'm sure they're heartbroken. It's like I'm sure some people are just in business for money. I'm sure that's the case. But it's like some of these people may be watching their people that have been frequent customers just tear their stores apart. It's like, man, that's sad. So I'm not for rioting or looting. Kind of on any sense of the word. But I can't imagine how these store owners feel. But it's not. I don't know. It's not just them I feel sorry for, right? I'm also heartbroken for the people who are losing, the people who are actually stealing stuff. My heart breaks for them too, because it's like something has gone wrong, and that's why they're doing it, right? It's like, some people are just evil to be evil, but those people that are rioting and looting and stuff like that, it's like, who have they listened to, and who have they kind of attached themselves to? That's telling them, right? That's telling them to do stuff like this. It's like, man, my heart just breaks for everybody. And I don't know.
Do you think they should have been rioted? Because Angela, her name is in the middle of my head. I cannot. Even when they rented her house and shot her by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the rioting and all of that should have been started because they've been killing Black African Americans for a minute?
So do you think that I think there should have been rioting all along?
Because it would have been stopped by now. Even though our time would have been, well, not our time specifically, because I think we're at a stage where we don't have to worry about racism because it's like 50-50 here in Mississippi.
Yeah, it's pretty diverse here. It's pretty diverse. And we see each other a lot. It's like, Mississippi, especially up in DeSoto County, there's a lot of places in Mississippi that are still really racist, but up in places like DeSoto County or Jackson, it's like, man, you go to church with some of these people. It's like, and they look completely different than you. So I think you're right there. But you look back at history, and history's never been particularly peaceful. We've always been trying to hurt one another and that kind of thing. So I don't think that rioting is good. I don't. I don't think it's beneficial to anybody, but I do think that if it would have been going on before that, I can understand why. You know, it's like I get it. I don't think it's right, but I see why it's happening. Because there's a lot of black people that feel like they're not heard, right? It's like they've actually been shot. Back to the metaphor that I was saying, it's like they've actually been shot. They're bleeding out, but nobody's listening to them. You know, and that causes a lot of problems because it's like, when are we gonna start listening? You know, and so that's why I'm a big fan of these conversations like this. You know, where it's like you just kind of sit down and talk to people and listen to what they have to say and truly listen to them, and not just like when you're talking. I'm not trying to think of my next answer to your argument, right? It's like I'm actually trying to listen to what you're saying, and then we can work from there. You know, that's kind of what I think about it.
What do you think Corona is man-made? Because at first everybody was obsessed with coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Then this Black Lives, then racism just hit hard and kind of swiftly coronavirus way.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion on that?
So I'm kind of at the point now where it's like, if we found out that coronavirus was, so I mean, we know that it was from China, right? And like we know all those things. And if we were to somehow find out that somebody made coronavirus as a weapon, it wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But to your point with new things being the new problems, you know, it's like, I don't know. It seems that it does seem that the media, and what I mean by that is like the big news channels, Fox News, CNN, excuse me, all those media channels have been corrupted by some kind of political agenda, you know, and so they're kind of ignoring the news and just trying to show the news that they want to show, which is why I think that YouTube is a good kind of counter to that, because YouTube has kind of come up. It's like, well, everybody kind of gets a shot at telling the truth, and so eventually we find it, you know. But I don't know. I think maybe it's man-made. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me at all. I hope it's not, because that's whoever made it is responsible for a lot of hurt and a lot of evil, right? But it certainly wouldn't shock me if it was.
Do you think like some people are doing it for clout, like
Doing what for clout?
like posting Black Lives Matter, rioting, and like YouTube, not even YouTube, like YouTubers, like TikTokers,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Do you think some of them are riding just for TikTok?
Yeah.
Or just for YouTube and don't know the real reason
Yeah.
you should ride for it?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's even white people saying that Black Lives Matter just because they feel guilty for being white. Right? It's like, I think that's all across the board. And, you know, I do think that's kind of back to what I was saying earlier. It's like there's people that have actually been hurt, and there's people that like have a paper cut, and they're wanting the same kind of attention. It's like, no, that ain't how it goes. You get a Band-Aid, and they get a doctor, you know. Yeah, I certainly think that, especially since social media is so big, you know, it's like, if you get a million likes on your Instagram or whatever, that really means something. Or if you get, you know, PewDiePie or whatever, if you get 100 million people to follow you on YouTube, it's like, you got a big following. Like, what are you doing? You know, and I think people crave that kind of attention, and so they'll do anything to get it. So sadly, it turns into people rioting for clout. But yeah, I do believe that. What about you?
Yeah, I really think people are riding for clout because, like, when you look on social media, it's nothing but Black Lives Matter. I understand that Black Lives Matter, even though, why should you feel guilty for the color you are?
Right.
Like, what is the reason for feeling guilty? Do you think like some of the kids and some of the grown adults are racist because they was taught that way?
Yeah. But I don't think that racism is always taught. The reason why I'm saying that is because if racism is always taught, it's like, well, who taught the first racist? It's like, I don't know. It's like, well, man, maybe I think there's something like that's wrong with everybody. And sometimes it manifests itself as racism, sometimes it manifests itself as sexism, you know, it's like, sometimes it manifests itself in different ways, but I think that we are all discriminating in some sort. We got to figure out how we're doing it and stop it. You know, I think that's something that is something that's within our ability to do. But I do think a lot of it's taught. You know, like I think there's probably a reason that deep in Mississippi there's still a lot of racist people. You know, like it's probably because it was taught. You know, I can't imagine why else that would be, but. I don't think that just racism alone is something that's taught. I think it's just something that we do.
Yeah, it's like, because at the beginning, I think that it was like a white person and a black person. Or it was like two white persons and one black person. And then the two white persons is more than them. They probably got an education. And he just sent them. And they look at each other and they probably thought, yeah, I'm better than you. He's just better than you.
Right.
What can you do? I'm better than you. And
right.
he can't retaliate or nothing because it's two of them, one of him.
Yeah. It's tribal warfare.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my tribe, whatever you want to call it your tribe, let's just call it white people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my tribe is these people. Your tribe is those people.
Like the natives, Americans, and Indians.
Exactly.
The Indians had spears.
Exactly.
And rocks and stuff, and Native Americans had guns and horses.
Or the Europeans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it kind of, and we've been seeing stuff like that ever since we've been around. You know, it's like Cain killed Abel. That's like one of the first stories in the Bible. You know, and that's an old book. The Bible's an old book, and it's like, man, ever since we've been around, we've had brothers killing each other. You know, it's like, so maybe there's something about us that's just really violent, but there's also something about us that's really peaceful. You know, it's like. MLK was a human too, just like Hitler was a human. It's like, so maybe we have the potential, like you and I have the potential to be like either one of them, you know? And that's something to think about, I think. But yeah, I think you're right, man. I think it was definitely like an us versus them. And it still is like that. But I think that's a good way to put it. It's like,
let's get off the sad topic. How's life?
How's life?
Yeah.
Man, life's good, bro. Life's good. I love teaching here. This is my first year teaching. And
so you never taught anywhere else?
Well, a student taught at Oxford High School, which is a school with a lot of money. But
why didn't you say that?
Why didn't I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I've already done. It's alright, I wanted to be back up here anyway. Because this is where my family is. So, but it's a school with a lot of money, but a lot of the same problems that every other school you see. It's like still got teachers that don't care. Still got students that don't care. You know. And so it was really interesting to see at Oxford how you can have all the money in the world and still have a lot of problems. You know?
Yeah. You got any secret talents?
Your secret talents?
Yeah.
No, I'm terrible at music. I'm pretty decent at telling people what I think. You know, like I'm well, I mean that makes me sound like a jerk, but like I'm pretty decent at being able to communicate with others. You know, so I don't know if it's a secret talent or whatever, but I like to. I can read fast. I don't know if that's something that
I got a friend that doesn't care. He don't care. Basically, if he's at your house, he moves. His mind.
What a terrible friend.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like basically, he has to have his way.
Right.
If he doesn't have his way, he will literally, well, not literally, but cries.
You talking about Adrian?
Yeah. Why are you so capped out? I swear to God. He has to have his way.
All right.
But he really do. How's your wife?
What'd you say?
How's your wife?
How's my wife?
Yeah.
Man, she's good, bro. She so ever since we've been married, she's been working and been willing to work. You know, that's been helpful. She's an incredible woman. I think she's ready to be a mom. I mean, she's already a mom.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. But my wife's a great woman. She keeps me in line because she's more emotional than I am. Not in the sense that like she cries a lot, but like she's able to tell how other people are feeling better than I can, and I need that in my life. Because I'll sometimes like I'll just be talking with people and not realize that I've upset them. I didn't upset them on purpose, but I did upset them. And she'll like pull me aside and be like, hey, I think you upset them when you said that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I just want to apologize. You know? But yeah, that's kind of how that is. But yeah, my wife's a great person. She's cool.
So, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel when you wake up? How do you feel when you come to school? Like, are you in a good mood, bad mood? And have you ever thought like 2 kids was a great couple and they might last?
You want me to answer both of the questions at the same time?
Yeah. Go ahead, like, just missed it.
All right. So I mean, like, how I feel when I wake up in the morning is I'm tired, you know. But once I get out of bed, once I get going, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. I truly feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to do, right? Like,
So you ain't got no other dreams?
Not like actual dreams in the sense that's like, man, I wish I would be doing something else. But I do know that teaching don't pay well, and I want to
do it forever.
Right. Well, I probably won't be able to do it forever. I'd love to do it forever. I'd like to do this until I was in the grade, you know, because I'm having a great time.
Yeah, you really don't have to do that. You just watch your art kids, tell them, yeah, you did a good job. And then in here, yeah, you gotta do it.
I gotta keep you on. I gotta keep you on. Yeah, but and then to answer your last question, when we done, have I ever had 2 students? Yeah, when I was student teaching, I had 2 students. Both of their names are Alex, and they're really cute together because she was like real small and real like fragile is not the right word, but she was just like a real small person, and then he was like a taller dude and had long curly hair. It was like, and both their names are Alex, and so. But yeah, they were cute.
That was 9th grade, 8th grade.
No, they were juniors. They were 11th grade. But yeah.
So you thought they was gonna last?
I hope they last. I hope they're still together. If they're not together in the season, that's awkward. But I hope they're still together.
Just to wrap it up, please go follow us on Mike's on YouTube and we're out with Malik and
Mr. Goodrow.